Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that I'm going to show you tonight is a 3 full fire alarm fire. We've got Glock being sued by the city of Chicago and Everytown for Gun Safety Law Division for selling Glocks because criminals convert them to machine guns in violation of the NFA law, which means obviously Glock should be barred from selling Glocks, semi-automatic Glocks, in the entire state of Illinois. Guys, send this one out. This is a big one. Everything will be linked into the description box below, and they just tipped their hand completely. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And this content is made possible by American Heart for Gold. I sat down with the CEO to talk about gold and its place in the modern era. Take a look at one of the little snippets here, and then we're going to get to this. Is it still pertinent today? Because a lot of the tendency of people is to go, well, that's an older thing. We have modern ways to make money and invest. So what's the pitch to keep gold still relevant in a modern society?
Sure. Great question. And when you look at the money that we're printing and the rate that we're printing it right now, it's really just a hedge against fiat currency. It's a hedge against the dollar. Government spending's been a runaway freight train lately, and you probably notice when you go out to buy things right now, your dollar's just been kind of whittled down to nothing, and the dollar doesn't go as far as it used to. And so it's just a hedge against currency. You see central banks buying it up left and right. They're buying it at the fastest rate in 50 years right now, do as the central banks are doing. But it's just a hedge, just an insurance policy that people use against what's going on with the devaluing of these currencies.
All right, beautiful people, we have got to dive into this. I'm going to do this as fast as possible and show you some very important things. But remember this phrase, readily convertible. We had a lot of conversation around that phrase, readily convertible, with the ATF talking about pistol braces, talking about ghost guns, anything that could be made into something illegal or converted readily made it a problem. Glocks, semi-automatics, Glock switches, machine guns, violating NFA law, and oh, wouldn't you know it, readily convertible there too. That's what they're saying. Check it out. This is from the president of Everytown for Gun Safety. Today, Everytown Law and the city of Chicago announced a historic lawsuit against Glock, Inc. to hold them accountable for the unconscionable decision to continue selling its easily modified pistols even though it could fix the problem. By refusing to do so, it is exacerbating gun violence in Chicago, which the obvious irony is Chicago is an infamous gun control zone. These semi-automatic pistols are being converted by criminals, violating the NFA, and then being used to perpetrate crime. Yeah, that's Glock's fault. Guys, this is... let's keep going. Federal officials recently contacted Glock to discuss implementing new ways to modify Glock pistols to make it harder for Glock switches to be installed. Rather than help, Glock has falsely insisted there's nothing that they can do because criminals gonna criminal. The lawsuit alleges that Glock unreasonably endangers Chicago residents and communities by continuing to sell a firearm that can easily be modified to an illegal machine gun in violation of state and local law. Also federal NFA law, because your gun control is pointless. Anyway, continuing, not getting sidetracked. The complaint also alleges that selling a weapon that can so easily be converted into a legal machine gun and failing to take reasonable steps to prevent or mitigate the problem, it is an unfair business practice, is negligent, and maintains, and contributes to public nuisances. Okay, that's what they're saying. Now let me walk you through what they want. Remember, in the past week alone, we've done this, the third video on completely different lawsuits from gun control organizations against some sort of the gun industry. You had Everytown for Gun Safety go after the Polymer 80 in Michigan. You had Giffords.org go after, oh God, what did Giffords go after? All social media companies. And now this one, Everytown, is going after Glocks because criminals convert them to full auto in light of their NFA, and yet still that's Glock's fault, because they don't make it difficult enough. Wow. All right, let me get to the actual article. This one's coming from Bearing Arms. Everything is linked, as I mentioned. Updated. Chicago sues Glock, accusing gunmaker of facilitating machine guns. Facilitating machine guns. So Glock, who has sold semi-automatic pistols for decades now, is being accused of facilitating machine guns because criminals are modifying internal components and making them full auto. No tax stamp, no NFA, no nothing. That's Glock's fault. Trying to hold the dots together here, people, but you can't. This is about a zealous nature of attacking any and all gun rights across the board. They are tipping their hand. All right, let me show you here. For several years, the gun control lobby and their allies in office have been making the argument that the federal government, including federal courts, should treat some or all semi-automatic firearms as machine guns under the theory that federal law already prohibits firearms that are readily convertible. There's the intro plug that I was telling you about, readily convertible to fully automatic fire. Now, the city of Chicago is making the argument the centerpiece of its new lawsuit against gunmaker Glock, accusing the company of willfully designing and selling handguns that can be illegally modified through the use of a switch, and demanding that the courts block the sale of Glock handguns, not only in Chicago, where there are no gun stores, but throughout the state of Illinois. What? So the entire state of Illinois now is not going to be able to get Glocks if they have their way on this, because criminals convert things outside of what they normally are. These people are zealots. They want your gun control. They want your gun rights. That's what they want. They're going after semi-automatics. Okay. Quote, the lawsuit alleges that Glock unreasonably endangers Chicagoans by manufacturing and selling in the Chicago civilian market semi-automatic pistols that can easily be converted to illegal machine guns with an auto sear, a cheap, small device commonly known as a Glock switch, the release said. The suit is the first to use Illinois' new Firearm Industry Responsibility Act. Shocker. Passed and signed into law in 2023 to hold gun companies accountable for conduct that endangers the public, the mayor's office said. Illinois under Pritzker gets a new Firearms Nuisance Act, or what they call it here, Firearms Industry Responsibility Act. The same time that they passed the PICA, the AR ban and the MAG ban. So now, Everytown for gun safety, their law division, is taking advantage of that, of which they pushed, in order to get this very outcome so that they can sue Glock to stop selling semi-automatic firearms. Just like in Michigan, they started putting more liability laws in place in Michigan, and all of a sudden Everytown comes in and starts suing Polymer 80, the ghost gun manufacturers. Weird how that works, isn't it? It's odd. It's almost like it's cause and effect. Anyway, one more thing for you, because this is so insane. The suit was filed Tuesday in Cook County Circuit Court, and reports law enforcement have recovered over 1,100 Glocks converted to machine guns in the last 2 years in connection with a variety of crimes. In the largest gun control state in the nation, violating the National Firearms Act, which ironically was put into place because gangsters in that exact same city. Anyway, the lawsuit alleges that Glock knows it could fix the problem but refuses to do so, completely changing their pattern of design and their entire product line because you think in some subjective perspective that they make it too easy to convert something to full auto when it's against the law and it's not part of the actual product offerings by Glock. That's like putting a governor or removing a governor off of a car and it going too fast. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Let's continue, though. The lawsuit alleges Glock knows it could easily fix the problem but refuses to do so, and the city is seeking a court order requiring Glock to cease sales of its easily converted pistols to Chicago civilians. The city also seeks penalties against Glock and damages for the harm that Glock has caused to the city, the release said. You notice how there's no penalty for the criminals who caused the harm. No. It's the people who sold the legal item, who the criminals then converted it into something that it was not sold as. That's the company's fault. Guys, we're living in an upside-down world right now. Make sure you send this one out, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think in the comments, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.